I'm Richard Yeargin III. I am a serial entrepreneur and a motivational speaker, and you can catch me on this week's Jesse T Show.
Richard, it's been a long time coming, brother. Welcome to the show.
I finally made it, man. I mean, geez, it's been a journey for me to get here, and it's just a blessing to share in this space with you. Sure.
Brother, likewise. And you have such a powerful story that I felt completely, I knew I was called to share, to get it to as many people as possible, because it's a story of strength. It's a story of vulnerability. It's a story of overcoming the odds. Tell us, who are you? What's your story? What's your journey, brother?
Well, I'm Richard Yeargin III. I'm Fort Lauderdale native. I have lived a life of just challenges, but also within those challenges, I've lived a life of purpose and meaning. And so, it started back in 1996 when I was born. To Janice and Richard Yeargin. My father, he's senior. My brother, he's a junior, and that's why I'm the third. So there's three Richards, and it's an honor and a privilege for me to share, my story and my journey. But the one thing that I think stands out the most to me is, there was this lady by the name of Margaret Yeargin, and that was my grandmother. And a lot of times it's hard for me to really go deeply into the relationship and kind of how that impacted me at such a young age, because I lost her at a young age, at the
Mm.
age of 8, 9 years old. And so for me, a lot of times I get lost in my thoughts when I start thinking back on, who am I? When was my identity formed? And, when did I realize, the powers that be, within me? And so at that time, growing up, it was very, um, it was very enlightening. There was a lot going on, especially in the rap culture, in the neighborhoods, and just in general. And I was blessed and fortunate enough, to have good parents and a grandmother that kind of set the tone for me and who I was going to be early on. It had nothing to do with football, right? I was a high achieving academic scholar at a young age. Was at a very prominent um, African American based private school that basically enforced a grade ahead learning. And so I've always prided myself on reading, writing, and basic arithmetic, and being able to express myself and understand the power of words, the power of thoughts,
Yes.
and that those are the things that I really enjoyed about my childhood, was learning new words, learning vocabulary, reading out loud, my grandma, writing. And most of the times, I wasn't even allowed to go outside, believe it or not, because it just wasn't a safe or conducive neighborhood towards me going outside. And so my grandma would say, you can't go outside with your friends, or you can't do this or do that. You need to stay in and read and just kind of stay put, like sit your ass still. That was my grandma's favorite line. Like, just sit your ass still. Like, no going outside, none of that. Like, when you get home from school, get your lesson, and let's sit down and let's have a conversation. Let's put on one of those older shows back in the day. I don't remember, what was it, like Madlock or something like that. You know, Divorce Court with Judge Judy
Oh
and
yeah,
all
yeah,
this stuff, and
yeah.
Law and Order. Like, but you're not going outside, so sit your ass still. And still to this day, as an adult, those are the things that reign true in my life.
Yeah.
Is literally learning to continue to sit my ass still. Like, and not be so in a hurry, so in a rush, just because someone else says, "Oh, um, you should do this or consider that." Or no, my grandma always told me, to think for myself and pretty much stay inside and sit still. Um,
Beautiful,
you
beautiful,
know?
like illustration of the power this matriarch in your family had, and thinking for yourself was the last thing that you mentioned, and that's something I really pride myself on because there's a lot of people telling you what to believe and what to think, and you have to
Right.
have a strong core foundation of who you are to not be moved by those things. And then also, it sounds like she really gave you an affinity through her teachings of reading and writing. And did you ever get into poetry or story writing or anything like that?
Yeah. What's interesting enough is I um I lost my passion for it once she died.
Yes.
Um, and so that part of me I kind of buried with her. And that's when I turned to, you know, transgressions and, hanging out in the streets with my friends now, doing drugs, selling drugs,
Yeah.
that sort of thing. Just getting into all kind of mischief.
You were hurt
Um,
looking for an outlet to cover up that pain.
yeah, and it was tough, right? Because a kid with so much upside and so much promise, it doesn't make sense that this kid would kind of go off the reservation
Yeah.
and decide to you know act out of character, so to speak. And so for me, I kept a lot of things covered up, a lot of things hidden, but the opportunity to be a great writer always, like I said, was there. I didn't want to tap into it anymore. And
Yes.
I remember in junior high school when I was a terrible student. I didn't really go to class. I just didn't try. I didn't have the motivation. I just wanted to just hang out and just be cool.